You might think if you're in tech, the job market's cooked, but it's absolutely not. And then in December, hiring started to pick up tremendously. And if you're in tech, you gotta keep practicing. So I'll show you a way to really hone your craft. Stay tuned. And now I can head over to a platform like this and ask the almighty career god what I need to do. So let's say, because I'm curious, I want to know how it's done for a beginner, let's say. Um, let's get it going. Okay, you got obviously education, that's a given. Courses, hands-on projects, networking. Cool. So this gives a very clear overview of how we can go about this. So I can say something like, "Tell me more, sensei." Okay, so it's telling me more. And obviously hackathons, that's huge. I don't know if what your skill level is, but if you're in the beginner stage, hackathons can even introduce you to say meet people who've been in the industry for 7+ years. So that's really cool. Um, but yeah, these are all great ways to really improve your skills, and we can get into some of the cool tools and problems right now. Now, the first thing I can do is more of the FANG style algorithmic question, because that's one of the key components of a interview, especially if you do one of the first top tech companies. So now let's do something like let's do recursion. Let's do hard question. Um, let's do something like this. Seems pretty hard, so we like it that way. So let's do Visual Studio Dark Mode, obviously Python. Now, I can obviously ask Nexa for help before I even approach it, saying get you in the right state of mind to approach it. So how would I even approach this question? Now, this is a good way to pre-frame yourself before going into something. And if you think this helps you, it's really good because in the real world, you'll obviously always have LLMs to help you out, refine your thought process and everything. So it's super critical. Now, I will dive into working on this problem. Alright, guys, so I'm here and I just solved this question. Now, let's see how I do. How will it grade me? And yeah, we can test it out and yeah. Alright, guys, so let's see how we did. Alright, so alright, seems interesting. Okay, so 8, we could do a little better in terms of enhancing the maintainability and readability of the code, but this is pretty solid. If you do 10 questions like this, 20 questions, hell, even 40, you'll do well. Like it's not rocket science, it's just a matter of repetitions. Now let's say I want to do something more of a behavioral kind of question where you gotta actually talk and express yourself to the interviewer. So to do that, let's say I want to do more, it's something more in the realm of React, JavaScript, Angular, any of these kinds of front end technologies. I would go in here. Basically, I would do this. Let's do a behavioral. Let's do a random question. And I need to use a timer because that simulates the real life nature of it. And let's get going.
Hi, let's practice an interview for front-end developer. Explain the concept of hoisting in JavaScript.
So basically hoisting is when you move variables on top of the compilation area when it executes. So yeah, it's quite simple.
How do you handle SEO in single-page applications?
So in single page applications, you can basically optimize the meta tags, the H1 tags, all these kinds of tags to make sure that pages are propagated properly, and Google ranks them because that's super important. And yeah, on page technical SEO is critical because that's how a lot of customers can reach your site, as well as if you use frameworks like Next.js, even React, you can optimize a lot of these tags. So, yeah.
Describe how you would approach a project where you need to ensure high accessibility standards.
A project where you need to ensure high accessibility standards is, let's say you are deploying an application that needs to be easily, that many people need to easily get. It should be web and mobile optimized for, let's say. Um, and yeah, so it just depends on what kind of user you have, what is the nature of your application, and yeah.
You're tasked with creating a feature that has never been done before in your team. How do you approach the challenge?
You're cooked. No, I'm just kidding. Never been done before. That's a pretty big statement. So, you could see, you can use first principles thinking, and think of the most fundamental thing that would need to be true for that new thing to occur. You just use that as building blocks, and obviously you can look at adjacent things that have been developed, maybe in different fields or in the same field, and kind of build it up that way, brick by brick. So.
How have you contributed to the learning and development of your peers or team members?
Yeah, so with peers and team members, just effective collaboration, building cool things, and yeah, always keeping up to date with the latest things because technology moves super fast. And yeah, being in tune with the product, customers, and features, user experience, all these kinds of things. Um, but yeah, so it's a multitude of factors, and yeah, that's the best way to keep um, contributing and learning and growing as a team. So, yeah. All right, guys, let's get that feedback. Let's see how we did. All right, guys, hoisting JavaScript. Okay, so I used not enough professionalism. Gotcha. Okay, so I could be more clear in terms of communicating the thoughts, which is understandable. Okay, gotcha. I need to be clarity seems to be a huge thing. So if you need to improve, it's gonna tell you straight up. It's gonna tell you to your face, which is super important. I'd rather people tell me to my face rather than not rather than being side eyed about it. Just tell me straight up. Okay, cool, very cool. Okay, so there's a lot of things that need to be improved, so it's very cool that it really tells you straight up this is what you need to improve. It's transparent, and this is what you don't need to improve, etc., etc. These are all critical things. You gotta learn technical stuff, behavioral stuff, but overall, this is gonna really help you out. Hope you enjoyed that.